Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Studio with Brad, week 8, I believe, uh, which prompted me to do all sorts of jokes about Eight is Enough, that old TV show, which probably some of you may or may not remember, and don't worry, it wasn't worth remembering if you don't remember it. So, what have I been up to the past week? Well, I've been doing artwork for XCrawl for Dungeon Denizens. Yeah. Why, thank you. Let me see if I can figure out how to speak English again. Wow. Some stuff for Tales from the Magician's Skull, and also some 3PP stuff for a publisher in England that I will be showing off in just a minute. So, first off, here is some stuff from the occupations chapter for XCrawl. And is that dark enough that you can see it or not? Okay. And this is a body modification artist. So she has all sorts of tattoos and piercings and, a whole lot of attitude. And then we have the range hand, whose beginning gear is a hat and a good pair of gloves. But I decided to spiff her up a little bit with a nice pair of cowboy boots and a lasso. So that. This is the guy that we will be working on tonight. And this is a fast food employee. Or it could be a line cook, I'm not sure which. But for Viva La Vittles, Roman style family restaurant where you are familia. Is that how you pronounce it? Familia?
I
I
have no idea.
yeah, my knowledge of Italian basically consists of garlic bread and pizza. So we'll be getting on to Mr. Vittles here in a second. Now, those any of you who have followed me on Facebook, you probably already seen this piece. This is one of the prize winners for Dungeon Denizens, and this was actually submitted by a fan and made the cut to be a stretch goal. It's the itinerant grasper, and yes, it's just a you know, a word that Alana would have to bleep out to keep us family friendly. Bunch of arms with eyeballs in some of the hands, holding swords, knives, clubs, whatever. This was not an easy piece to do, if nothing else, just to try to draw this many arms and hands and still give them some sort of personality. But I think I pulled it off. So that will be coming out, and I've got another piece for something called some monster called the Slaughter Knight, which when we were talking about it over Twitch was generating all sorts of World Wrestling Federation jokes. So, who is this fellow? This is one of the pieces that I'm doing for that third-party publisher, Postmortem Studios. And this is an occupation, the Gravedigger. And I personally think this is a pretty good representation of a gong farmer also. What do you think, guys? Pretty grungy, eh? As far as I'm concerned, it very much fits in the Dungeon Crawl Classics milieu. So, and finally, I talked to the client, and he agreed to let me rework one of my older pieces from a previous edition as a color piece to be the cover, and ta-da! This is what I draw for fun, people. And you wonder why my wife doesn't have nightmares, or I do for that matter. Speaking of my wife, she reminded me to pull a joke at the beginning of the episode, which I forgot to do. I'm sorry. So here we go. Brace yourself, folks. I don't think anyone can brace yourself bad enough for this one. Why did the teddy bear not want any dessert?
He was too stuffed.
I am not sure whether you should pat yourself on the back or just reach your hand up and slap yourself that you were able to come figure out that joke, Alana.
It's because it's one I would tell.
Don't worry, folks. We have plenty more to inflict on you yet tonight. And since this is week 8, 9, 10, we only have 3 more episodes, so we want to use up the rest of these. Because she has a whole bunch already lined up for next season. That's your 1 season warning, by the way.
Joan has already redeemed another one.
Okay. And it's a joke, I can tell you that much. I don't know whether you folks should run screaming from the room or whether I should, because what do you call an imaginary color? It's a pigment of your imagination. They don't get any better than this, folks. The scary thing is, I think they get worse.
That one's not a bad one, actually.
So, anyhow, yeah, give me just 1 second to get some of this stuff out of the way, because I like to try and keep my work area at least semi-tidy. And let's get to work on Mr. Biddles here. Oops, that's not the one I wanted to use. There we go. Now, has everybody pledged that to support XCrawl Classics by now? Or plan on it? I don't think I'm giving away any secrets to say that they have several books planned pretty much like right out the gate. Move you out of the way just a second, guys. There we go. That's better.
Setting it up so you can see it better.
Just trying to clear up some of the. I mean, I'm not going probably not going to get to the other drawings tonight, so there's no sense in having them on the desk.
Fair
You know,
enough.
I mean, I'm fast, but I mean, I only moved them to right behind me anyhow. So if I manage to get this to the point where it needs to go on the scanner anyhow before 9 o'clock. Oh, we are going till 9 tonight, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Unless for some reason you feel like you can't.
Yeah. Barring me getting physically ill or something, you know?
Yeah. Judge Hipmore says one more joke ought to make him physically ill.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Marlene. I've been eating my own cooking for the past 8 months. I'm not sure there is anything that would make me physically ill. Do, do, do. So I have to admit, this tells you about how dumb I can be, and Jess knows this story. So I like to make egg salad as an easy, snack sandwich food. Okay. And for some reason, the eggs that we get from Walmart, they don't like to peel. Don't know why. The shells are too thin or something. They're but they're a real pain in the you know where to try to peel. And I'm all sorts of stressing over this because, then I was like, wait a moment. I'm making egg salad and I'm going to put these things in basically a food processor, which is kind of like the egg equivalent of one of the death traps from one of the Saw movies.
Oh, jeez.
And isn't that a visual? So, what does it matter if the eggs don't come out so utterly pristine out of the shells, as long as I can get the eggs out, right?
Sure.
So, duh, instead of like, and the shell coming off in like 2,000 pieces. Hey, look, I have two halves of an egg. They ain't pretty, but they're not a lot easier to get out of the shell now. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I would have ever thought to do that, to be honest, though.
Well, you probably didn't think of a food processor as the egg equivalent of one of the torture devices from one of the Saw movies either.
Yeah, I still don't want to think about that.
You
Like,
know, I
Go ahead.
I generally have. I think I've only seen two or three of those movies, and that's plenty because there's just. It seems like after the first movie, which was actually pretty elegant in its simplicity, it just kind of took a hard right turn into what? And one person is supposed to be building all these devices, you know? I mean, some of the stuff that they show in those movies is like you need a team of engineers from MIT to construct. And we're supposed to believe that one really, really disgruntled police detective builds most of them. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
it's a teensy win, like, wee bit too far fetched.
Yeah. I mean, I'd much rather see something much, more down to earth, like one of the Hellraiser movies.
Yes. Because we can believe in that stuff because we can find that more believable because we can just go something something demons.
Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting bit of a Hellraiser related trivia for you. Okay. Actor Doug Bradley, the guy that plays Pinhead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to play Pinhead. He was scheduled to be in the movie because he and Clive Barker are old business and theater friends, but he did not want to play Pinhead. or the Hell Priest as he is officially known. He wanted to play one of the moving men from that one scene early in the movie where the two guys are bringing the mattress into the house. He thought that would be a much better role for him to tackle. Is that ridiculous or what?
That's so strange, but kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, he's not officially Pinhead. That was a name that the production crew was using on the set to describe his character, and Bradley hated it. But it became kind of like, oh, yeah, it's Pinhead, to the point where eventually, you know, the character became known as Pinhead. Yeah, he's either, if you notice, if you watch the credits, he is simply marked as Head Cenobite.
I did know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that Pinhead was just a nickname for him.
Yeah. Yep. This is XCrawl, so of course they have to have some sort of be wearing some sort of a button. Have you seen the new Hellraiser movie yet?
I have not, no. Have you?
No. Uh, it's completely childish of me, but I have a bit of a grudge against the guy that wrote the screenplay for the new one. Because he was the same guy that wrote the script for the Man of Steel movie with with that where the Superman reboot from a few years back now, and I hated that movie with such a passion. You know, I mean, for one thing, they completely changed the source of Kal-El's powers, which I could never understand, because everybody knows how Superman gets his powers, correct? Does
Yeah.
anybody? Oh no, he gets it from breathing Earth's atmosphere, and I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
What? Wait a moment. They established that he got his powers from the sun, yellow sun, back in like the mid 40s or so. You know, there's just some things that you just don't screw with.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that'd be like, okay, well, we're going to do Sherlock Holmes, but we're not going to make him a detective. What? You know?
Yeah, it's a little goofy.
Yep. And then having him kill General Zod, that was a major no-no in my eyes. And having Pa Kent basically telling Clark that it'd be better to let people die than, reveal his risk revealing his powers. And I'm like, dude, Mr. Screenwriter, you used to write Superman. So you can't claim ignorance about any of this. And I'm just thinking, this guy probably got paid several $100,000 to write the script. He, you know, he can't exactly say I wasn't getting paid enough to do my research, you know? Because I'm pretty sure that all he would have had to do anyhow would be to call one of his contacts at Warner Brothers and say, hey, I need as many issues of Superman as you can send me,
Or
you know?
even just a quick Wikipedia search.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, but going back to the Hellraiser, I mean, from what I've seen, Jamie Clayton does an amazing job as the Hell Priestess. But anybody who knows me can tell you, I can be a real purist when it comes to stuff like that. You know, I am an unashamed snob sometimes. That probably does not sound very good over the audio feed.
Do you have like a favorite subgenre in like horror? As far as like, I don't know, psychological versus like, I don't know, something more action horror or something like that.
Oh, for movies, you mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of a hard one. Believe it or not, I don't watch very many horror movies anymore. Generally, I kind of lean towards um, what would generally pass as kind of like cosmic horror stuff, the unfeeling universe type stuff. Probably because I'm such a Lovecraft fan. But you know, a lot of the Hellraiser movies, I mean, they very much fall under that same category where it's like the universe doesn't really care about us. I am not a fan of slashers because I think they get old very, very fast,
Yeah, they're a bit formulaic.
especially movies like the Scream movies. It's like, dudes, it's a guy with a knife in a costume that he got from Party City.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe in the earlier parts of the first movie, that was like, oh my God, you know, there's a slasher on, you know, there's some guy in a Halloween costume running around killing people. Okay, fine. You know, that's pretty shocking. But by the fifth, sixth, what are we on? Like the 53rd movie or something?
Yeah, I think we're on number 6.
Okay, so I was exaggerating a little bit. Okay, we get the idea. You're a guy with a knife. And, you
I
know,
think what I appreciate about the first Scream movie,
mm-hmm,
um, one, being a dude in a Halloween costume is like generally kind of scary because it gives the whole like it could be anyone vibe, you know?
fair enough.
But outside of that, what I appreciate about it is that it was satirical.
Yeah,
It was making fun of horror movies. And I appreciate the being a horror movie while also still being satirical of other horror movies.
Oh yeah, because it was perfectly aware of the fact that it was a horror movie.
And I like how it would make the main characters would make like quips about like what I don't know would be in I think Friday the 13th. I think they were making fun of that.
Um, I probably it's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah,
I just
same.
remember Matthew Lillard, the character, you know, I'll be right back. Knowing of course that generally when somebody says a line like that in a horror movie,
They're not
you can.
coming back.
Okay, true story, and I'm not joking here. I was at a college party one time, and for some reason, the host had one of the Friday the 13th movies playing in the background. Okay. So I'm kind of watching it. And after like the second or third death of some big boing, no, 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 sorority girl, I started like, okay, she just took her shirt off. 5, 4, 3, 2, and she's dead, of course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Now, here's the funny thing about within the next 15 minutes of the movie, I had the entire everyone in the room counting down with me. I'm not joking. It was like, oh yeah. So I just have a real hard time. Um, Now I do love me some old classic like Hammer movies and stuff like that. Though sometimes I really had to wonder about, their choices. Okay. You have Christopher Lee as an actor signed up for this movie. Okay. So you're going to reboot the Dracula franchise. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
You are going, what's that?
I said, all right, I'm on board.
And you are casting Christopher Lee to play Count Dracula, the Prince of Darkness. And they gave him no lines of dialogue.
Oh, of course.
What? You have an actor who is already established with one of the greatest baritones of the 20th century, and you give him no dialogue.
Why would you? I don't know. I don't see your problem here.
Okay.
I'm being facetious there.
Yeah. That'd be like casting Marilyn Monroe in a movie, then having her spend the entire movie with a brown paper bag over her head.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And I don't think he had any dialogue in, well, he played the mummy, where he had no dialogue. He played Frankenstein's monster, where he had no dialogue. It's like, okay. Just not understanding the logic of that, guys. I mean, yeah, it gave more a chance for Peter Cushing to shine, but, you know,
Joan said something I can kind of get behind. I don't care much for horror movies because some are just predictable. And I can see that. I think my favorite horror movies are ones where they've subverted my expectations. Like, I went in thinking it was one kind of movie and they totally flipped it on its head.
mm-hmm.
I think thrillers do that very well.
Yeah, yeah. Psycho being the all-time classic of that,
Yes.
where, you know, gosh, she's stolen this money and she's had a change of heart and she's going to, go back and she's going to face the music and she's dead. What? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. I got to figure out what I'm doing with this little bit.
Oh, apparently Jess says I should ask you about her and Psycho.
So, early in our relationship, this is back when I did watch a lot more horror movies than I do now. Um, Jess had heard about the movie Psycho, but had never gotten around to watching it. Okay. So went, we trundled our tuchuses down to the local video store and I rented it and I forget what all happened, but we didn't get around to watching it till, or well, we didn't get around to being able to do anything until fairly late at night. And just as a little bit more of a night out, I had to work in the morning. So it's like, hon, I got to get to bed. Well, I'm going to stay up and watch Psycho. You're going to regret this, hon. Oh, it's a black and white movie. It's not going to scare me. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay. Mind you, I've seen Psycho, and I knew everything that was going to happen. But it's like, okay, don't consider yourself warned. And I go to bed. And about 90 minutes later, the bedroom door creaks open and Jess literally crawled into the room and crawled into bed. That movie scared me. And I was just awake enough to say, told you so, and went back to sleep. And then about a week and a half later, she wanted to kill me because she was taking a shower. We were already living at that together at that point. So, hey, you know, couples that are going to get married, you get used to this kind of stuff. So she's do 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 do, and I walk in and I sneak into the bathroom, or you know, and I pull open the shower curtain. Ew, 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 ew.
You're terrible.
She wanted to kill me.
I've had that happen before though. Cause like sometimes I'll put on music and like on my phone and put it on the bathroom counter, and so I won't hear if the door opens or anything like that. And I think I had a boyfriend in the past who I was taking a shower and he came in to brush his teeth or something, and he opens the door and I start hearing the water running in the faucet. I screamed like a little girl and I threw open the curtain, like partially covering myself, like ready to throw like shampoo bottles at whoever was in the bathroom. And I'm like, don't do that. Like, knock or something. Like, I
Well, he probably
understand we're in
didn't.
the same shared space and we live together, but knock or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's like I things like that. Like I don't even think that it was Psycho that made me scared, or that makes me more scared when I'm in the shower. I think probably Psycho doesn't help, but I don't know.
No.
I'm acutely aware. Like, when you go like
Oh, wait,
camping,
hold on. Just one thing. Hold that for thought for one
hold it.
second. For a quote from the author of the book Psycho. Uh, Robert Bloch was a well-known, you know, well known for his witticisms. So for years after Psycho came out, people were coming up to him and telling him it's like, because of your movie, I'm afraid to take showers anymore. To which he always replied, well then, I'm glad I didn't have that scene happen on the toilet.
Yeah, really.
Well, he's also the guy that was famous for somebody who was kind of like upset by some of his writing. What kind of heartless monster are you, Mr. Block? And he looked the guy straight in the eye and said, actually, I have the heart of a small child. I keep it on in a jar on my desk. Which, by the way, Stephen King used during a speech one time and did not, acknowledge, that, Bob's original line, which I was rather, it's like, shame on
Mm-hmm.
you, Uncle Stevie.
Yeah, really. So we do have a question in the chat from Joan. Does the weight or balance of your pencils and pens make you want to use certain ones?
Um, yes, it's really finicky, but it is very, you find that certain pens just seem to feel better, have a better hand feel. Like these pens that I'm using, these have a wonderful feel to them. They're absolutely perfectly balanced. If you notice when I'm using them, I can draw really, really fast. Um, there have been other times when I buy a pen and I take it home and I'm all excited and 2 minutes into trying to draw with it, and it's like, this just ain't gonna work. Like I'm trying to find a pen that I don't use very often simply because of that. Like these, I can use them, but they always feel off balanced to me. So I don't know. Generally, most of my pens and such like that, they kind of migrate to the depths of the art desk and eventually, to the great recycling bin in the sky, as it were. But no, that's a very legit question, Joan. And it's one of those things you don't know until you have a chance to start using it. I think every artist runs has that, and it's really bad if like you do a lot of painting because paintbrushes can get unbelievably expensive. Let's see. Here we go. And Jess can tell you about this. This brush, can you see it? Guess how much this brush put me back?
$20.
Go up.
$35.
It costs $28.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Now, mind you, it gives me I can get a line that I swear is like a third of a third of a third of a third of a millimeter in width, but yeah, it was expensive. And that wasn't even the most expensive pen at that store, the store that day. There were some that were like $60. Hmm. Your classic tennis shoes, you know?
Can't go out of the house without them.
Absolutely. Just a second.
Jess says I about drove off the road when he told me how much that pen was.
No, dear, you almost strangled me before we left the parking lot. Now get your facts straight, dear.
It was a different form of murder.
The thing is, not very many people bother even making brushes that fine, which is why I kind of like, okay, I need a really fine line brush to do some of this stuff. So I just bit the bullet. It's like, hey, and it's paid for itself many times over, you know. I mean, I used it for doing the zombie nun and the monster of arms over here, and a lot of those VTT pieces that I've shown off over the past few months.
So we have a redemption for a random Joker fact from Joan whenever you can take the chance.
Okay, give me just a second. I just want to finish this fold here. Okay. Okay, here we go. What kind of lion doesn't roar? Anyone?
Mmm. A stone lion? A statue?
A dandelion.
Oh. I wasn't even thinking floral.
I think I'm going to go get an ashtray for in here for next season and a book of matches. What do you think, folks? I think some of these definitely deserve more than just simply being thrown away or being eviscerated.
Sorry about that. I hope I didn't miss anything. I had to go help Tyler in the garage.
Nope. Is all quiet on the Western Front so far. Oops, sorry. No, we do not have a show next week, correct?
What is next week?
I think it'll be the second or third.
Oh, yeah, because that would be Mauve Mike, I believe.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I have not heard that we're not having Mauve Mike, so we should.
Okay.
So, hello, Peter. We're drawing some more XCrawl. What exactly is this, a character type, right?
Yep. No, this is a character for your funnel. This is a your occupation.
Ah, right. Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm not really sure whether this guy is a fast food employee or line cook. You can be both for your funnel. I mean, I think it would work for pretty much either. One thing I do love about XCross so much is you can have the complete incongruity of a character with, of course, like a big sword like this, or wearing armor and such. But, you know, let's face it, he's a line cook, you know? He's got an apron on, and this apron needs some stains. What do you think, folks?
Yeah. I don't
I
think I've
have
ever seen a pristine apron on a line cook.
generally, if it's a brand new apron, that's about the only time I ever saw a.
Buddy's first time on the job. Here's a brand new apron. About I give it maybe 3 hours for him to spill something on it and go, "Well, okay. I can't get that out."
Yep. I know that the restaurant I used to work at for the longest time, they actually had a professional cleaning service that would take care of the aprons because there is no way on earth you're going to get some of those stains out with normal laundry detergent. Oh, I forgot. Dagnabbit, it's too late to do anything about it. Unless, hold on. Hold on, I gotta do some impromptu edits on this piece
No worries.
because anyone who has ever spent any time working in a kitchen will know this, and Jess is probably going to laugh her ass off because she's going to realize what it is in a few seconds. Pretty much any available belt loop or anything like that, you end up shoving a towel through. And she can confirm that I would walk out at least out of work at least once a week and have forgotten to have taken the towel out and thrown it away or thrown it in the laundry. So we ended up with sometimes ridiculous numbers of towels from where I worked at the house. Here we go. And I swear every restaurant in the world uses the same brand of towels with these little stripes of blue at the edges. And I do not know why. So there we go. There we go. What do you think, folks? Does that look about right for a line cook or a fast food employee after about 2 hours at any typical job? Give me just a second, folks. Giving a note to myself because I did kind of screw up the shape of his wrist there. So I will fix that when I take this thing into Photoshop. I figured this is like a bag of potato chips. I'm not sure what I should call it though. What sounds like a good X-File-ish name for a brand of potato chips? I am oh I am open to any suggestions, folks.
I'm not good at coming up with things like that on the spot, so I will defer this straight to chat. I am empty headed.
I'm sure I can come up with something, but I think it's kind of fun to see if someone else can come up with something better than what I would.
We've got 3 so far:
Okay.
Brain Chip, Kringles, and Tasty Tots Barbecue.
Tasty Tots barbecue.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound bad. Hold on.
Or Flays.
The
Lays you
light.
wide. Lays you wide one. One is all you eat. Flays.
I think Tasty Tots sounds like my best bet. Okay. I will work. I'll add that, at the Photoshop level. I don't like trying to do that kind of stuff freehand. Okay. Ooh, grabbed the wrong brush. It would have been bad. This is going to require a little bit of finessing. Yes, he has a soul patch, folks.
Perfect.
And because this is XCrawl, which seems to be thematically stuck about 1978. Hold on just a second, guys. There we go. What do you think? Some good old sideburns there. Wasn't that the great thing with the, especially the zero levels of a game like XCrawl? I mean, they're schlubs, you know? And this guy is not a hero. He may think he's a hero, but You know, he's the kind of guy that probably regales all his coworkers with his plans for being an XCrawl hero, and they're all like, "Yep, sure, Leroy, whatever," you know?
Double O Sundog Double O says Schlub McSchlubbed face.
What's that?
Schlubbed McSlubbed face.
Okay, now comes the tricky part. Because that's not just a hat, folks, of course. Because he's a line worker and he works in a kitchen. Yes, he's got a hairnet. Mhm.
Jess says the scary thing is that hairnet probably has more damage than the meat cleaver.
Quite possibly. Give me just one more second, folks, and I think this guy's about done. Okay. I would say this guy's done. What do you think, folks? I mean, until I can clean him up and slap him on the scanner, which, I don't think any of us really want to watch me doing because that's basically me moving a mouse around. Woohoo. Okay, so I think we are going to try and go for a twofer for the night. What do you think?
Why
I can at
not?
least. So,
I just saw that Jess redeemed a random Joker fact.
okay, give me just 1 second, hon. I just want to finish the muscle on her arms here. There we go. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is your artistic information for the day. Leonardo da Vinci could write with one hand and draw with the other at the same time. I've heard he could also basically, and I don't know whether this is true or not, that he could basically write two different things, with each hands at the same time. And I'm like, my brain doesn't even want to register that. at the time, I can barely write what I want to say with one hand at one time.
I honestly didn't know that about him. That's kind of crazy.
The man was pretty strange.
Okay, I have a strangely random question. If
Okay.
there's any kind of gadget invented or not invented, like either it could be like something you've seen on some sci-fi show or movie, or something that you know is out there, um, that you could have at this moment in an instant. Is there like a weird gadget that you'd want?
Oh, yeah. And again, this is a true story. One of my old professors told me this story. Okay. So he was stuck doing a drawing 101 class at Bowling Green State University. Okay. Which anyone who's been to college knows drawing or art essentials 101 is basically like this is a pencil. This is the point, the end that you use to draw with. This is not the point that you put in your eye. Okay. So he was giving them a basic art assignment to draw something in 1 point perspective. Okay. And for anyone who 1 point perspective is to the horizon line, yada, 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 It's like the most basic perspective possible. You with me so far, folks?
Mm-hmm.
So he gives his students this assignment. And one of them goes over to the BGSU bookstore and wants to buy a 1 point perspective. Like it's an art tool you can buy. So the guy that runs the art department at the bookstore is like, okay. But just to be careful, that somehow someone had invented like what the second most basic tool art tool, short of like what any the eraser and the ruler. So he starts calling around to the different art supply companies wanting to buy a 1 point perspective. And of course they're like, what? So I think his name the guy had the incredibly name of Dallas Black, which I'm like, how do you what do you do to get a real name that cool? But okay, but back to the point. They're like, why do you want to buy a 1 point perspective? So Dallas explained to them about it that that Dave Caton had assigned some of his students to draw something in 1 point perspective. So the next thing that Dr. Caton knew, he had these different art companies like Dick Blick and such calling to ask him, you've invented a 1 point perspective? Can we buy it? Can we buy the rights to it from you? So I would dearly love to have a 1 point perspective tool.
Huh.
Yeah. I always thought that was one of the funniest things. I mean, we were and he was telling this to a bunch of junior and senior art students, and we were all just howling laughing.
Oh, I bet.
So, other than short of something like, a tricorder from Star Trek or a phaser, you know, I want a 1 point perspective. Actually, what I also want is the one piece of artwork that he had in his personal collection. He actually owned one of Durer's praying hands prints. Yeah, one of only, I want to say, like 50 in existence. Mhm. What I will probably do this piece is I will actually ink the tattoos and such on a separate piece of paper. And I will probably then just kind of composite them together, because that way I can adjust the transparency of the tattoos very easily. I've done that with other pieces where people had tattoos. Oops. Sorry. Was my head in the shoulder? Was my head in the camera? I'm sorry if it was, folks. Nothing says Dungeons and or yeah, this this is still kind of Dungeons and Dragons. Quite like a character in Cut Off Jeans. What do you think, folks? I actually think this is going to work much better as a game under the Dungeon Crawl Classics than it did under as a Pathfinder. Pathfinder always seemed to me to be a very clunky system, and a game like XCrawl really needs to be kind of a little bit more freeform and to allow for more characters innovation rather than you looking through, how big is the Pathfinder rulebook? Like 700 pages or so?
I was just at a local game store and looked at it, and I can't remember. I feel like you're right.
All I know is I was at the local game store one time and somebody actually dropped one on their kid, and the ambulance was able to take its time getting there. So that's all I need to know. Do. I mean, yes, the XCrawl Classics is a huge book. But if you kind of strip out all the spells, suddenly it's only what, about 200 pages tops? And a significant portion of that is basically just kind of like, here are some ideas for you to use. Why don't you go ahead and dig out one of those questions that just found for you, Alana?
Yeah, no problem. I was looking over the list myself, but wasn't quite sure what to ask.
Okay.
Have Do you have a most prized possession?
I don't know. Is my wife allowed to be considered a most prized possession?
Aww.
I mean, I have a huge book collection, but okay. You know, books can be replaced, though, granted, some of the books in my collection would be hard to replace. But really, about the only thing I can think of that, you know, I could not be utterly replaced at all would be Jess. I don't know whether she likes being considered a possession or not. You know, if she's a possession, I can try and put her up on eBay.
We can put it as the most prized noun you own.
Okay, that works. Yeah.
Or not own, but have in your life.
Yeah. Seriously, I would suggest, you know, I mean, art supplies can be replaced. Music collections can be replaced. Book collections can be replaced. Jess is pretty irreplaceable.
That's cute.
No, I am not giving everyone a group hug. Thank you anyhow.
I am not Timothy has a question.
Okay.
Elmore or Easley?
Easily. As much as I love Larry as a person, he is great. I do not consider him as good an artist by any stretch of the imagination compared to Jeff. Now, I have seen Larry do some stuff that he absolutely knocked it out of the park. But now, in terms of personalities, Larry, have you ever met Larry Elmore or not?
I don't believe I've ever had the chance to meet Elmore, but I have
Oh,
met Jeff Easley.
okay. You know, just very nice, and he's very quiet, but he's very quiet.
Yeah.
Larry is like the grandpa that everyone wants. And his wife is like, why couldn't my grandma be as cool as you? You know? And yes, but Larry is an utter sweetheart. And I'm not trying to say, oh, he's not talented at all. You know, I'm just saying if I had to make a choice between the two, I would go with Jeff. Actually, one of my prized memories from my early days in the industry was, okay, this gives you an idea how long ago this happened. This was back when Gen Con was still in Milwaukee. Okay. And TSR had a booth set up where they were selling off some of their stuff that just it didn't sell. So they were basically selling off these books like at $1 a piece just to try and clear stock, because hey, you gotta pay if it's sitting in officially sitting in your warehouse, you gotta pay taxes on it. And if the product ain't selling, what's the point? So I think it was a copy of the Wilderness Survival Guide. Okay, I think that was an early second edition book, maybe even first edition. I can't remember. Anyhow, I bought it for like $1. Take it back to the booth I'm working at, you know, and lo and behold, and it had an easily cover because I think he did the vast majority of their covers at that time. Okay. Well, lo and behold, who wanders by? Do, 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 do. And if anybody's ever seen Jeff Easley walk, he is definitely a do, 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 do kind of walker. And he stops at the booth. He's looking through the stuff, our stuff. I was like, oh, hey, Mr. Easley. Because we were acquaintances, kind of. And hey, I just got this book that had your cover. Would you sign it for me real fast?
That's
Because
cool.
oh, wait a moment, no, what really blew my mind is so he like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, Brad. And I hand him the book and he scribbles his signature on it. And I don't remember whether he bought anything or not, but then he just kind of wandered away, and I'm holding my autographed Jeff Easley book, and I suddenly realized that my name tag was down by my belt. Okay. And he had not looked it down. It's like, oh, me.
He knew who you were without you having to tell him.
Yeah.
That's so. He's so cool. Like just the fact that like he gives no craps, like you could just like hand him like, could you sign my art or my book, and he's like, yeah, no problem. And like, I don't know, he is so nice.
Yes. Jeff is the epitome of someone who is cool because he is so completely unaware that he is cool. Would you say that's a good description?
100%, yes.
Yeah. Like, there are some people who, I mean, they try to be cool. They strive for it and usually fail, of course, you know? And here's Jeff, who is basically he looks like a chemist. At least at this time, he looked like a chemistry teacher. He did not look, and
It,
even to this day, he doesn't look like he should be, in a studio drawing dragons. And what the hell is just crawled out of your head this time, Jeff? He looks like he should be assigning, and write a synopsis of Chapter 7, Photosynthesis Among Mushrooms of the South American Forests. Yeah, so. Do mushrooms have photosynthesis?
I don't know.
I don't think they do.
I
It tells you
don't
about
think so because they don't have
chlorophyll.
chlorophyll. Yeah. I think they get their nutrients from whatever they grow from. I might also just be talking out of my rear because I don't know a lot about mushrooms. but I have a feeling that it's not photosynthesis.
Yeah. Mushrooms. I still need to watch what was that show, The Last of Us?
I have not seen the show. I've heard really good things about it. I've not seen the show, but I watched a playthrough of the video game that it's based off of, and it's really good.
Yeah. Well, I started watching the first episode and I literally had to stop because it was starting to really give me the creeps because anyone who actually does know anything about fungal life forms know that's not that far from a possibility. The what is it, a type of of fungus that basically jumps species? Is that the whole idea behind the Last of Us?
So if you've ever like heard of the fungus that is very prominent in some species of ants and has even been found in like deer,
You mean Copadelis?
yes. So they basically take over the host body and effectively makes them zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what this mushroom fungi zombie thing is that it's that, but it's evolved to affect humans.
Oh, do you mean like COVID mutated to affect humans from bats?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. I was like, thanks, guys. I'm prone not to actually having nightmares, but a zombie game or show that has that believable of a root in reality, no thank you. No, thank you at all. Spanky.
Yeah. And it's really funny because I had found out about that mushroom not because of the video game, but through something else. I forgot what it was. I think it might have actually been because of some science or biology class I took.
Yeah.
But I remember looking up about that thing and I'm like, "Oh man, this would make for a really interesting horror premise." And then like a few years later, of course somebody had basically made what I was thinking about. And I'm like, "Oh, oh no."
Actually, there is a novel, and I do not remember the name of it, that came out probably over 20 years ago that was already talking about it. That, yeah, about funguses that kind of mutate and start taking over the world.
Also, Peter Mullen said that because of his first job after graduating art school was at a mushroom farm, he knows that mushrooms grow in the dark, so there is no chance of photosynthesis.
Oh, what's the joke? Kept in the dark and fed. Peter, is that why you're such a fun guy to hang around with?
Wah, wah, wah.
You had to know that one was coming.
Oh, 100%. I was waiting for the ball to drop.
So, Peter, how many thousands of times have you had to put up with that joke?
I'm scared
Or
to
am I
know.
underestimating the numbers? By the way, Peter, welcome to chat.
Apparently, the job was in an old mine.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I
Okay.
I do know here in Pennsylvania there is a lot of mushroom farms in an area called Kennett Square to the point where at New Year's they don't do a ball drop. They have a giant light up mushroom that drops.
Hey, hun, do you want to tell them about is it Oak Harbor and what they drop on New Year's Eve?
I'm scared to ask.
It's a big fishing town. I will warn you right there.
Do they drop a giant trout or something?
A walleye.
A walleye. Okay, yeah. Peter, that is. Oh, poop. Where am I located? Hang on, actually. Give me 1 second. By the way, Joan has redeemed a random Joker fact, and I'm going to hop on Google and try to figure out where Kennett Square is compared to Harrisburg. And then I'll tell you if it's east or west.
Okay.
Is it another joke?
Define joke.
Something that makes us want to hurt ourselves very deeply.
It's a joke then.
Oh, God.
In honor of Disney's latest failure in terms of live action movies, where did Captain Hook buy his hook? This is so politically incorrect.
I'm okay. Then my answer is definitely wrong because I was going to say at the tackle shop.
Oh no, he got it at a second-hand store.
That's terrible. Also,
I have to hand it to you, hon. You're on a roll tonight.
Hand it to you. She says you're welcome. To answer Peter's question, Kennett Square is East Pennsylvania. It's east of Lancaster, like more southeast, really.
Oh,
like
okay.
underneath Philadelphia, but not close to Philly at all.
Oh, okay. Do they, have the Mushroom Festival, and do they,
Yes.
please tell me they do not crown who I think they crown.
I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. I don't think any of their mushroom farms are in mines. They're like, I've passed by them. It is very stinky, I'll have you know. Very, very stinky. I don't think I could live anywhere close to these farms. They're so stinky. It's worse than living next to a dairy farm, which I did for a while. Yeah. Don't go outside when the wind is going your direction. But they weren't in mines. I believe they're effectively greenhouses, but they're like big, giant, like dome-ish. They're not. They're buildings, but they're not. It's like giant plastic tarp. Yeah, the compost is very stinky.
Sounds very Stephen King-ish, actually.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. They're like, you know how like some greenhouses are like really long and square with like a circular or like a spherical like top, like a rounded top instead of all square. That's what it's like, but it's basically plastic. It's basically like they're heavy duty. They're meant to resist like storms and stuff like that. But it basically is keeping it a hot house inside where the mushrooms grow, so that they cultivate and they're in the dark. But I believe there are some mines in. I don't know if it's eastern. I don't know exactly. I think it's western, closer to western PA. But like, I know there's some mines close to State College that you can actually go and visit. Yeah, there's like mines and caves and stuff. Like there's the Penn Caves close to State College, which I still haven't gotten Tyler to take me to because he's like, I refuse to spelunk. He's like, I'm not going in a cave. He's like, you can go have that death wish, but don't bring me with you.
Oh, so basically he's seen the movie The Descent.
I can promise you he hasn't, but he's watched a lot of YouTube videos about spelunking gone wrong.
Yeah.
Do we really have mines everywhere in PA, Peter? I've only lived here for a short amount of time in perspective. Like, I've been here since 2018, but I haven't
Oh,
gone
oh,
far outside
Pennsylvania.
of.
Pennsylvania is a coal mining country.
Was it really? I knew that there was a couple of them, but I didn't think they were like super concentrated here. Because I know Centralia was a big coal mine town. One is on fire right now. That's Centralia that I was talking about. That people say that Silent Hill was sort of kind of based off of. I had no idea how concentrated it was here. Huh.
Oh no.
I'm very ignorant about Pennsylvania because I did not grow up here. I grew up in North Carolina.
Oh
So,
yeah. See, you got to remember, I'm from the eastern part of Ohio, so
you're
you
really
know,
close. Yeah.
literally like 15 miles or so.
No, yeah, yeah.
And Jess can confirm this. There is one spot near my hometown that there's a big hill called what, 5 Mile Hill, huh? Is that what it's called? That if you go up to it and you park at the peak of the hill before it starts going back down into the valley, you can see, obviously you're in Ohio, and you can see into Pennsylvania and West Virginia all at the same time.
That's kind of neat, though. Yeah, the my thing with like so my knowledge of Pennsylvania has like kind of been the bottom portion, like on the border, because I lived 30 minutes over the border from Hagerstown in Chambersburg. And until I moved to Harrisburg, like I've only ever really visited like State College and Carlisle, Chambersburg, Shippensburg. I'm trying to think of the other places. Kennett Square I'd been to, and West Grove, which is close to Kennett Square. It's like a little small town. So like I've been like Amish country, part of Pennsylvania, but like not really. I have not like I've never gone to Philly or Pittsburgh, mostly because I've never really had a reason to. I don't necessarily want to
Yeah,
either because
really.
there's I think I take that back. I might have been around Philly, but never in it.
Yeah.
I prefer going and visiting the mountains than cities around here. Like if I live somewhere, it's like I can go to the city anytime, but like mountains are special.
Yeah.
Gettysburg, I've been to Gettysburg I don't know how many times.
Yeah. Gettysburg is definitely amazing that way.
Yeah, like I never get bored when I go. I like to go like on my days off. If I have a full day off where I don't have to worry about any chores or anything, I take a trip down to Gettysburg. I just like walking around it.
Oh yeah. Well, Jess and I want to go back in a what, maybe probably 2 years or so. We will have to let you know when we are in town.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, here, since you know Gettysburg, okay, out towards the edge of town, there is a little Italian place, a little Italian restaurant, 1 story, tiny ass parking lot, food that makes you want to, convert to Catholicism just so you can go and, you know, go to confession how much you liked it. Do you happen to know the name of that place?
No, cuz I know what you're talking about, but I've never been in it.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of like it's going down a hill, and you're going down the hill. It's on the left-hand side.
Yep,
Okay, so you know which one I'm talking about.
I do, but I cannot tell you what the name of that place is at all.
Okay.
Most of the time when Tyler and I would take trips to Gettysburg, we'd go to the Irish pub that's like in downtown.
Oh yeah.
So, O'Leary's? O'Geary's? I can't remember now. O'Reilly's? Is it O'Reilly's? It might
I
just
don't
be
remember.
O'Reilly's. But they have like the best. Oh, Jess says it's La Bella Italia.
Ah, thank you, dear.
There we go.
Obvious, obviously she has been Googling because that's on our list of places to go when we go back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's almost 9 o'clock, isn't it, guys? Okay, well, how time flies when we're talking about Gettysburg and mushrooms.
Yeah, seriously.
So I hope the past 2 hours have been entertaining to you folks, and I thank you for joining us. We will be back on the 10th, I believe. Next Monday, you can tune in and listen to Manly Mike Curtis talking about whatever he wants to talk about. The guy's 6'5". He can talk about mushrooms as much as he wants. And we will see you on the 10th. I'm not sure what I'll be drawing by that time. Maybe more XCrawl. I am not sure. So you folks all have a great week. Have a happy 4th of July. And I do believe we are out of here.